I've been using Apple iPad on my work for ever since they came out. I always think they're a great device to have and a great addition to your productivity. But I never found iPad to be part of my main workflow. I always found that iPad was used purely for entertainment and casual gaming and occasional multitasking. But it wasn't up until recently when I got myself the Magic Keyboard and Apple Pencil Pro that everything changed. iPad Pro has now become the most used device in my day-to-day workflow. And in this video, I want to break down the top 3 scenarios where I use my iPad the most, more than my MacBook or even iPhone. Number 1 is speed and ease of use. For me, iPad is such a great handy device and is always ready to deliver. For example, using a MacBook, you would have to turn it on or you would have to wake it up from a sleep mode. Then you had to go and navigate to the menu and then you had to look for the file, you had to look for the document. Yes, you can use Spotlight search and all that, but then again, it's still a laptop-led experience. Whereas with iPad, everything just feels a lot more quicker. Although there are limitations in terms of you cannot obviously do heavy lifting tasks, you can't edit files like, Excel. So there are limitations, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to on the go and having a quick look and a preview of your document, trying to get information from your files that are stored on your drive, it's just a lot quicker and better than a MacBook. For example, I could be in meetings where I find myself using my iPad much more than my laptop. I work in an office and I usually have client meetings. I don't really always take my laptop with me because I find iPad much quicker in responding to my requests and able to preview documents at a glance. So for example, I could be collaborating on a project and I've been asked a question by a client. So whilst I'm responding back to the client, I could have multi-windows open where I'm researching different things and I can respond back to the client with the required information. I found that experience to the iPad was much, much better than on a laptop. And also, I usually recommend you, if you have an iPad, to use widgets on the screen. For example, I usually have widgets for PowerPoint and Excel. So when I'm in my work mode, I have these widgets on my home screen, which helps me navigate through different recently opened documents or also pinned documents. So if I'm about to go in a meeting, I usually open these documents on my iPad and just leave it there. And when I'm in the meeting, I can quickly go through the widget and look at 6 recent documents being opened. So it's really easy for me to go and look at the information and give it to my client or have a discussion in the meeting. And when I'm doing collaborative sessions, it's a lot easier and quicker to do that. And when I compare this to my laptop, it's different experience. And don't get me wrong, laptops are designed to deliver more, right? They are much more powerful. They have much more cores. They will always perform better than a tablet or an iPad. But when it comes to getting information or just able to multitask and navigate different documents, just for that, iPad always performs better than your laptop. And that's just my experience. Obviously, it can differ from user to user, but in my case, how I set up my iPad, that is the sort of experience I'm getting from the device. It's snappy, it's quick, it's easy to open multiple windows, navigate through the different documents and different files. Obviously, Apple iOS has helped in this situation, but it feels a lot more accessible when it comes to that functionality compared to a laptop. And that takes me to the second point why iPad has become the most used device in my workflow, and that is connectivity. No matter how great your MacBooks are or any other laptop you're using, not having eSIM capability for me is a massive setback. Everything is now on clouds. We don't use our drives anymore. We use everything on cloud, whether it's OneDrive or Apple iCloud or Google Drive. All my documents and slides and client notes are stored in these cloud storage. So for me to access those storage, I need speed, I need connectivity. So when I'm on the laptop, I have to be stationed at my office or at my desk. But when I'm on the go, I usually struggle to access those documents. I always have to connect to my phone to get internet or a public Wi-Fi, which are obviously not safe. And for me, having this eSIM connectivity makes the whole process a lot more seamless. I know my documents are always updated. I know my documents are easily accessible. I can just go into my drive. I know that my documents are there. I can make the edit on the go and it will be automatically uploaded. When I'm back in my office, everything is up to date and ready to go. And that's just the professional side of it, right? You can also access your messages and, now with the addition of WhatsApp, you can communicate with your friends and family. So you're not relying on a mobile phone. There have been so many occasions where I've just left my phone in the car and I've gone to a client meeting in the cafe and I'm just using my iPad for everything. I have multiple screens open. One screen is looking at the Word document, other screen is looking at a PowerPoint slide. Then I've got a screen that looks at the WhatsApp messages and I'm communicating, I'm talking at the same time. I'm multitasking, and this is where iPad excels. than compared to any other device. And for me, eSIM connectivity, being connected to a network, is a big, massive tick in the box. And hence why this becomes a perfect on-the-go device. When you're on the go, the biggest drawback with laptop is that connectivity part, which takes me on the second section of the second part, which is the screen quality itself. And it's not just about the OLED display. I know a lot of other devices have much better displays. It's also the brightness. When I'm out and about, I think I struggle with the most when it comes to laptop is that not able to see the documents you're viewing or not able to see the video you're watching. So for me, having an OLED display is great, but then having higher brightness is even better. And iPad Pro offers both. So iPad Pro M4 not only has a super high quality OLED display, but also has really high brightness. And that's what I meant by holistic experience. It's not just the connectivity part. It's not just the typing experience. It's not just the lightweight factor. It's not just connected with the Apple ecosystem. It's a whole experience in itself. That's the reason it becomes a perfect on-the-go device. And that takes me on to the third and the final point. Remember at the beginning of the video, I mentioned the Apple Pencil Pro, and I haven't mentioned anything around that in the first two steps. So there is a small niche area for me, particularly when it comes to Apple Pencil Pro, but it is a very important niche. So let me give you an example. When I'm out and about, I also like to think about different ideas for the videos I'm going to create, right? How should I script my videos? What should I do? How should I set up my scene? And for me, it's more easy to understand and implement when it's visualized. And that visualization happens with the Apple Pencil. So I find myself just taking the iPad off the Magic Keyboard, laying it flat on the table, and just drawing my ideas on it. And it could be in any handwriting, it doesn't matter. It just visualizes everything that I want and it stays in my head. And when it comes to creating videos afterwards, it's a lot more easier. I can even print it or I can just send it to my phone and I'm on the go memorizing it or going through it. So it kind of stays in my memory. And when it comes to filming those videos, I'm clear because I've done that visualization in my head. I know what are the next steps. So Apple Pencil Pro is massively helpful in that scenario. And I don't have to carry extra notepad or any other document with me because I know I can just do that using the iPad and the Pencil Pro. Also in many client meetings, I have to sign documents or have to annotate on the contract documents, and Apple Pencil Pro makes the whole experience very seamless. You could be annotating on an iPad document and it's all of a sudden saved on your MacBook and everywhere else on the ecosystem. You could be writing notes anywhere in one of the apps that you can use, like I use the Good Notes app, and it's synced across all the devices. Again, as I mentioned before, it's a whole holistic experience which makes this device the perfect on-the-go device. So those were the main reasons why Apple iPad Pro has become the most used device in my workflow. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If so, like and share. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It really helps me. And once again, thank you for staying all the way till the end. It means a lot to me. Have a good one. Take care and see you in the next one.